Hello and good morning, everybody. It's me, Julian, and today I would like to talk about what you might call a friendship test. A seemingly simple and yet I think highly important argument that Slavoj Žižek makes about the concept of friendship. In fact, if you read Žižek, you'll realize that friendship is a recurrent theme in his critique of ideology and late-stage capitalism. He writes, for example, that if your boss pretends to be your best friend, here we have a symptom of contemporary ideology. In other words, the relationship of oppression is obscured under the auspices of a friendly relationship. And I want to begin with what you might call a friendship test of sorts, and it works like this. Žižek says that a true friend is somebody who can insult you, somebody who can call you names, somebody where you can tease each other mercilessly. You might even be able to rough each other up a little bit. Žižek's basic argument is that a friend is somebody you don't have to play pretend with. Like, it's so evident that you love and know and respect each other that you can be intimately vulgar with each other, as it were. And an example for Žižek of this is his own relationship with the French philosopher and theorist Alain Badiou. In public appearances, Žižek can be quite crass apropos Badiou. He almost appears as an enemy of sorts. And then you realize that it's actually because they really like each other and they really respect each other that they can be so forthright, so antagonistic. In fact, I think that for Žižek, friendship isn't just about people you like, it's also specifically about people you respect. And so many of Žižek's friends will be philosophical antagonists or rivals, as it were. Žižek's relationship, for example, to and with Judith Butler is a relationship of philosophical antagonism, but they take each other seriously, which is to say, a sign of friendship is that you respect each other sufficiently to clearly demarcate your differences, to actually talk about them and fight them out, as it were. Whereas somebody you're not friends with, somebody you don't care for, somebody you don't respect, you're going to pretend to agree with them. You're going to pretend to get along with them. In fact, I think you could even say that when Žižek had his quote-unquote debate with Jordan Peterson, we saw what it looks like when Žižek talks with someone who is not his friend. He appears to agree on every front. Whereas when Žižek is amongst his friends, he will radically and vocally disagree with them on almost everything. In this sense, the concept of friendship for Žižek is related to Oscar Wilde's maxim that a true friend never stabs you in the back, they'll stab you in the front. Which is to say, a true friend is somebody who wants the best for you, who respects you enough that essentially they'll call you out on your bullshit, or they'll protect you against yourself. Like, I think a true friend knows you better than you know yourself, and so if you're about to do something stupid, they're unafraid to tell you because they want the best for you. Like, they're the person who are going to hold you back. But as I said before, for Žižek, the theory and concept of friendship also has an ideological category, if you will. Žižek basically argues that one of the ideological symptoms of contemporary life, what he calls late-stage capitalism, is that we pretend to be free and friends with everybody when we're actually more alienated and more distant from people than ever before. For example, you could walk into a coffee shop and somebody will pretend to be your best friend and care about you and how is your day, etc. And yet the expectation is that you won't tell that person exactly how you feel. In other words, it's precisely because you put on the mask or the appearance of friendship that you can allow yourself to remain anonymous behind the mask of appearances, what Adorno would have called a little lie, a necessary lie to function in the symbolic space. The biggest mistake, of course, would be to actually misrecognize that gesture as true authentic friendship and to then tell that person exactly how you feel. Now, Žižek isn't arguing for a more authentic, friendlier relationship. He's not saying that we should actually become friends with everyone. This would be by definition impossible. Instead, Žižek's argument is that what happens within contemporary life, ideology, as it were, is that a system or a relation of oppression becomes disavowed or obfuscated under the guise of this friendly relation. That for example, when it comes, as Walter Benjamin once wrote about politicians, he said, when it comes to politicians, it's no longer about seeing how their policies will directly impact our lives and indeed restrict it, but instead about whether or not we would want to have a beer with them, whether or not we think they're likable, friendly people, whether or not we could imagine being friends with them. Here we have friendship as a symptom of contemporary life. Or the way in which, for example, your boss might pretend to be your equal, your best friend, might even ask you personal things about your life. And yet, when push comes to shove, they're the person who will mercilessly fire you if they feel like they have a need to do so. It's similar to the British version of The Office, where we saw how the boss character would sort of painfully try to pretend that he was friends with his employees, desperately wanting to be liked by them and seeking their approval, and yet nevertheless insisting on his role as the figure of parental and indeed patriarchal authority. And so Žižek says that when it comes to friendship, the universal idea of friendship, like love, has become neutered, has become a sign of its opposite, of a kind of alienated oppression. Whereas true friendship, vice versa, in a paradoxical way, is when you can be brutally honest with each other, when you can mercilessly tease each other and antagonize each other, when you are very clear about what you stand for, and you confront them, and you debate each other. This kind of philosophical friendship is the ultimate sign of respect for Slavoj Žižek, that you respect and love each other so much that you will say exactly what you mean and that you will defend it and that you will always hold them to account. That is what Žižek means by friendship. If you'd like to learn more about Žižek, you can download my complete guide to Žižek ebook series on Patreon. Otherwise, thank you for watching.